That's right. Welcome to the OG Network. Make sure that you get your OG Network mugs, where you'll notice we are elevating on purpose. Go to the OGNetworkstore.com. Matter of fact, you probably can click right below the video now that we got the store officially open on YouTube. But we have an important conversation that needs to be had today, and it's centered around Joy Reid being fired from MSNBC. That's right. I said Joy Reid being fired from MSNBC. They got rid of their mascot, their most ferocious soldier, whatever you want to call it. Joy Reid and MSNBC are no longer a thing. So a lot of people have been reacting. A lot of conservatives who Joy Reid has sparred with, whether journalists, pundits, whether it's the Megyn Kellys of the world, a lot of people are showing absolutely no grace, no sympathy, no empathy for Joy Reid being fired from MSNBC. And then on the other end, you got guys like Don Lemon who are coming to the aid of Joy Reid. And pretty much, well, I'll give you the example with Don Lemon. Don Lemon told Megyn Kelly to go F herself. So what's really going on? I'm sure you've seen a lot of reactions by now. I'm going to give you a different take. I haven't seen the take that I have anybody else say. So you're hearing it here first. I think there's been a lot of hate being thrown, like, let's say, from a Don Lemon to a Megyn Kelly's way, where he's so offended that Megyn Kelly would make fun of Joy Reid being fired and use her words of talking about white women's tears and then spin that back and throw it at Joy Reid because she was crying when announcing that her show was no longer. Who are you really mad at, bro? Who are you really mad at? See, the people that are defending Joy Reid, this is just my opinion. You're not mad at Megyn Kelly. You may take your anger out on Megyn Kelly. You're not mad at Donald Trump for what he said about Joy Reid being fired. Who you're really mad at, I think we should take a quote from Malcolm X. Malcolm X, and this has been coming up on our show, if you tap into our show, it's been coming up a lot lately. Malcolm X he had a quote where he said that the white liberal is the most dangerous thing to America and the most dangerous thing to black people in America. Let's focus on the latter. White liberals, the most dangerous people to black Americans. What is your take on that? What are the thoughts that come to mind? Yes, no, maybe, somewhere in the middle? Okay. Ever since slavery, white people have known that, and I'm not saying, of course, not all white people. Do we have to say that? But from the times of the slave master using the black woman in their best interest to not only divide and conquer, divide the family, and to take that role away from the man in the family by emasculating that black man that's the head of the family as a slave. Let's fast forward to now. The black woman has been used in the Democratic Army, used in the liberal army to be their most ferocious soldier, just like Joy Reid with MSNBC, to be their most loyal soldier, to be willing to fight battles that not just impact black people or black women, but to fight battles across the board that the overall liberal agenda is trying to fight, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's the feminist movement, whether it's issues with immigration, whether it's issues with the different wars that are going on, whatever it is, liberals and Democrats have used black women to ferociously fight their battles and push their agendas. So when I say that Don Lemon's really not mad at Megyn Kelly, Don Lemon's really mad at MSNBC. Now, Don Lemon, I believe he was let go of CNN. He's taking a lot of that anger that he even faced himself from being one of these liberal, ferocious fighters for the Liberal Party and on the gay side. And then he was fired. Joy Reid was doing exactly what MSNBC paid her $3 million a year to do. She was going above and beyond. She was answering the call. Joy Reid wasn't always a super duper extreme liberal, um, whatever she turned into as we see her now. She wasn't always that, but she was paid to do so by MSNBC. They kept saying, hey, get more extreme, get more extreme. Trump's in office. We need somebody who's going to get more and more extreme as politics becomes more and more extreme, polarizing, and toxic, to be totally honest. MSNBC used her. Joy Reid compromised her brand. She compromised her integrity. She compromised a lot of things to fight the battle for MSNBC and to fight the battle for liberals and Democrats. And what was she awarded with when it no longer suited their purpose and their interest? She was fired. So why is Don Lemon mad at Megyn Kelly? Don't get mad at Megyn Kelly. Call out who you really want to call out. Call out MSNBC. Call out the white liberals that you were jumping out the window and saying crazy nonsense that you probably don't even believe, but you were paid to just push that agenda. So therefore you rocking with your gang, and your gang turned their back on you. They got rid of you. You were the one going out here putting in all the work for the gang. You were the one doing all the dirty work that nobody else in the gang wanted to do. And how do they repay you? Now they want to distance yourself. When now the gang got a bad reputation and they're like, yo, now they want to distance themselves from you, the person that was actually putting in the work, not for yourself, but for the overall gang and for the group benefit of the Democrats, the liberals, and MSNBC. And now look at you. You've compromised your brand. So I doubt that you'll be hired by another major platform. You will be forced to do exactly what Don Lemon did and now go on YouTube or have an independent platform, something different than, in a lot of ways, you could say that you deserve. In a lot of ways that you could say that you deserve. Now, I do not agree with most, all 99.99% of the things and stances that Joy Reid takes. However, what I want people to do is to wake up. Black women, wake up. Black people, wake up. We have been used by liberals to push their agenda while we get emotionally entangled and bamboozled because if we push their agenda, it's a part of the overall agenda that's going to help advance Black people. No, it hasn't. And it will not, because you've been so loyal to this Democratic and liberal party to the point where they don't even feel that they need to do anything for you. That's why Joe Biden can jump up on there and have an interview with Charlemagne to where he's trying to actually win the support of the Black community. And what he says is, you ain't Black if you don't vote for me. Seems like he thinks very less of the Black people that have been supporting them, supporting this party, even though this party has done absolutely nothing for them. Supporting the party. Matter of fact, Joe Biden, his number one, when he was running for president, what was it, 2019? He said that his number one agenda item, priority, was the LGBTQ community. Here's a man that's responsible, partly responsible, contributed to the crime bill, which locked up more Black men, destroyed more Black families than you tell me anything else outside of slavery. Tell me anything else that has, or the social programs that y'all incentivize Black women to leave their Black men in order, and you guys will now become the Black men. You guys will now become the protectors and the providers in the household. Black women, you've been bamboozled, and a lot of Black men have stood by and watched this and not called it out because they're scared of being called Uncle Toms and whatever else, going against the code and all this other BS that we buy into, hustling backwards, pushing and promoting something that is not even in our best interest. But because we're so emotional and not logical in how we move politically, we don't even look at how the things that we support, stand by, fight for, how they actually impact us in the long run. We never look at the results because we're so emotionally engaged in the intent. And people can fool you with intent, especially when you don't pay attention to results, especially when you don't pay attention to what were the results of all these social programs. Have they helped the Black community? What were the results of the DEI programs? Have they actually helped Black people? Have they done what they were quote unquote intended to do? But you can always fool people that are emotionally engaged more than they are logically engaged because they don't care about the results. So Joy Reid, we're going to go through a few different videos here to get a couple people's reactions to kind of highlight some of the things that I've already been mentioned. But let me be very clear. Consider this a wake-up call for Black Americans. Consider this a wake-up call for Black women. You were used, and now you've been thrown to the side because you are no longer needed. So Don Lemon, Joy Reid, you can go up on there and wear your MSNBC jacket and act like you're so proud of MSNBC. You can take the high road. It reminded me when I got cut from, it's like you get cut from a team. But to be totally honest, if I was Joy Reid and I got cut from her team, I would be pissed off because she gave everything to MSNBC. She compromised her integrity, compromised her brand. She jumped out the window. She said racist things. She's the one that's calling Donald Trump Hitler, all these different things that the politicians may have hinted at, but Joy Reid was the one that was actually pressing the button on it. She was the one frontlining the fight for the liberal army. And look how y'all repay her. So where's all the Jasmine Crockett's, the Ayanna Presley's, the Hakeem Jeffries, the Al Sharptons, the Van Jones? Where are all y'all calling? Aren't y'all offended that they got rid of this Black women? But instead, you will focus on the conservatives that talk ish about and laugh at Joy Reid being fired. But where should you really put your energy on? Oh, you don't want to stand against MSNBC because a lot of y'all are still hired by MSNBC. You still collecting money from MSNBC. It reminds me of a lot of these athletes. Everybody wants to stand up, but then when an athlete actually stands up, nobody else is supportive. Yeah, you'll criticize Donald Trump for talking about Colin Kaepernick, but you ain't gonna stand up with Colin Kaepernick. Okay. This is why I have no respect for the Democratic Party. One of the one of the many reasons. The Democratic Party, I mean, like Malcolm X said this, 70 years ago, 60 years ago? He made it very clear. And what's so funny is y'all love to quote, a lot of y'all blackity blacks out there that Democrat or die, that have this Trump derangement syndrome. A lot of y'all like to quote, or I should say misquote Malcolm, because you may say his words, but you're not paying attention to the context that will give full understanding to what he actually meant. Malcolm X would be calling out people like Joy Reid. Malcolm X would be calling out people like Joy Reid for your unwavering support and willingness to fight more for the Democrats and liberals than you are even for your quote unquote Black community. Let's get into the video. And I would love for y'all to give me y'all thoughts on it. Maybe I'm wrong. I may be wrong. I may be off, but let's actually get into the conversation. Y'all take a look at this video. We'll go through it. We'll stop along the way. But I just want y'all to think about this from a zoomed out perspective. Everybody's zooming in on this, and you can't see the full picture. Zoom out and understand the full picture. What are y'all mad at? You got more anger towards Megyn Kelly and people making fun of Joy Reid than actually putting that anger towards MSNBC. MSNBC was the one who used Joy. Megyn Kelly didn't use Joy. They just compete. They're ops. Whatever. Cool. But your team, and maybe this is a microcosm of what we see all the time. Democrats and people that vote Democrat, liberal, y'all know who I'm talking about, both the politicians and the voters. Let me talk to the voters for a second. Y'all are so quick to look at Trump with the microscope, criticize every little thing that he does. The glass could be could be 7/8 full, and you'll talk about the 1/8 that's not full when it comes to Trump. Meanwhile, your glass has a drop in it when Biden's in office, a drop in it when Kamala Harris is in office, a drop in it when Barack Obama's in office, and you're sitting there talking about, well, we got some water in there. You're making a fool of yourself. And it's because you won't put your emotions to the side, come with some emotional maturity, some emotional intelligence, and really look at this thing logically. But let's get into the video.
In the wake of Joy Reid's shock firing from MSNBC after the network suffered a string of ratings disasters and money woes.
My show had value, and that that what I was doing had value, and in the
yes, it did have value. It had value until it didn't. It had value to MSNBC until they decided, no longer serves value. And you know how you determine value? We talk about this when it comes to relationships. Test your product out on the market. Test your product out on the market. If your show really had some value, then no worries. There'll be maybe other mainstream stations or independent platforms that will be willing to pay you a whole lot of money if your show really had value.
the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And this is kind of like being on TV, so I apologize.
But not everyone was devastated. Outspoken commentator Megyn Kelly had no sympathy for Reid.
The big news tonight will be Joy Reid's final show on MSNBC. Single tear, white woman tears happening right here, Joy. She was officially fired over the weekend because she's a racist, horrible news anchor with no ratings. And that's really been the truth for a long time.
And regardless of how you feel about Megyn Kelly's opinion, who cares? Who cares? Why do we care more about how our opposition, how our enemy, how our competition feels about us, to where we won't even pay attention to how the people on our team actually feel about us?
MSNBC's under new management, and I guess they decided to come to grips with reality. The truth is, this is very sad news for us, as she's provided so much material over the years. I feel the way I felt when Brian Stelter got fired, but he came back, and you never know. I'm sure Joy Reid will wind up doing something where we will continue to get to respond to her absolutely insane POV.
Like I said, whether you agree with her or not, it doesn't matter. So what? Oh, they're rubbing it in. We lost, and that team had bad sportsmanship. Like, yo, this is not youth sports. This is the pros. So what? Somebody rubbed it in. It is what it is. What you need to direct your energy at is internally, and circle back with your team, and circle back and understand why we lost, why we took an L here, why MSNBC told us and pushed us and encouraged and incentivized us to say these outlandish things that perhaps we were saying. And clearly this is like MSNBC admitting, like, nah, she's a little bit too extreme. They didn't give her another show. They got rid of her show. They didn't move her to another time slot. They got rid of her. They fired her. That's MSNBC admitting we did not like that direction that Joy was going in. The ratings were low, so the people spoke, and the leadership spoke in MSNBC. It is what it is. Let's keep going.
This sparked a war of words online, with former CNN host Don Lemon blasting Kelly's response.
Let me just say to Megyn Kelly, in my 30-some years as a journalist and my 50-some years as a person of color, go f*** yourself, okay?
No, Don, that's what you and Joy did. Y'all effed yourself. You effed yourself to the point where no other mainstream outlet wanted to pick you up. You effed yourself to the point where you can say that you now have your own show and, you know, you're fine. You're glad that you're independent. But that was your only option. Joy Reid effed herself by compromising her brand. If she had a brand built on being a little bit more objective, having certain integrity, in how she's presenting information, whatever it is, you disagree or agree, then maybe more opportunities would be out there. And then she could say, you know what, I want to go independent. But because the value of her show is not seen as valuable by the other mainstream platforms, now she's forced to come on out over here on YouTube with us. To come on over here with us. Joy, you can always come. I would love to have Joy Reid on the OG network. We can debate. Matter of fact, I think that Joy would actually have a more objective view. I think Joy's going to learn. Well, should I say that Joy would learn, I think, a valuable lesson if she came over here and rocked with us on OG network. Because she's not incentivized to be extreme. Matter of fact, a lot of y'all probably saying, nah, ain't no learning. I just think that when you're surrounded by some new energy, maybe. Now, if she goes elsewhere, if she sticks with her same team and does an independent platform, then she probably won't learn. But if she comes over and rocks with some just people that can challenge her super liberal views, can challenge her Trump derangement syndrome, then maybe that would change some things. Maybe that would change some things. I don't know.
And Lemon didn't stop there, showing his support for Reid by hosting a bizarre watch party live on YouTube for Reid's final show.
Hi, everyone. We're preparing at my house and on the Don Lemon Show for a Joy Reid watch party. So we will see you at 7 Eastern on the Don Lemon Show on YouTube to watch the farewell for Joy Reid on MSNBC. We'll see you then.
Joy Reid's colleague and rumoured replacement Jen Psaki also sang her praises with a lengthy tribute.
I know Joy just ended her show by thanking her team, which is the most authentically Joy thing to do, I can tell you, and they are also a very incredible team. But I want to start this show tonight by thanking her. I want to thank her because she's done amazing work here. She does tell stories no one tells.
Oh, they ain't get rid of Jen Psaki? They kept Jen Psaki. I guess she's a more... I'm surprised Joy Reid isn't saying, oh, this white women, y'all kept the white women. Oh, well, then they also kept, you know, I think they're replacing her with, what's the lady's name? Simone, I believe. And the guy that was the former head of the RNC, I believe. I feel like that's who they're replacing it with, but who knows? I'm not being realistic when I say they're replacing her and kept the white woman. I'm not being serious. I'm just acting and behaving as if I'm a Joy Reid who looks at race in every single situation, who looks at being a victim in every single situation because she drank that Democrat liberal Kool-Aid. Let's keep going.
She does that fearlessly on her show.
But it wasn't only Megyn Kelly rejoicing at the news of Reid's departure. Commentator Rob Smith said Joy Reid's show was trash.
Joy Reid, your show had no value. It was trash, it was propaganda, and it was one of the most damaging things to the unity of America that I have ever seen. There was not one single scam over the past 5 to 7 years that you have not foisted on the American public. You foisted the BLM scam on the American public. You foisted the Russian collusion delusion on the American public. You foisted the January 6th basically lie and propaganda on the American public. You pushed the COVID propaganda on the American public. And so now that you have outlived your usefulness as an effective propaganda tool for the corporate masters that you serve, they have gotten rid of you which is what happens. I hope that you're happy and feel good about yourself for basically denigrating Black Republicans, for crapping all over Black Republicans like Byron Donalds, Black Republicans like Tim Scott, Black Republicans like me. Black Republicans, you did nothing but smear, denigrate, and bully all of us because we did not fall in line with that agenda. So your tears are delicious. I care nothing about these tears because you are a liar, you are a racist, and you are a propagandist, and I'm glad your show is gone.
And perhaps the happiest person with the news.
Damn. But if I was Joy, I would listen to the message in what that gentleman just said. Listen to the message. Ignore the fact that they're making fun of me or they have no sympathy and empathy for me. Ignore that. Take the message. I don't know whether it was some book that I was reading. I don't know if it was the 48 Laws of Power, I forget, but they were talking about how enemies are so valuable because enemies keep it real with you and tell you certain things in a critical standpoint that your friends will never tell you. Joy Reid's friends and family and her team will never tell her a message like what he just said, but it's a fact. You were used. And now you're thrown to the side when you are no longer useful to MSNBC, the people that you compromised your brand and integrity for and stood on the front line of whatever fight you heard him talk about, whatever fight, whether it's BLM, whether it was January 6th, whether it was with COVID and the vaccines and how you were talking about people that were unvaccinated. I was one of them. You decided to frontline every single battle that the corporate and whoever sponsors MSNBC pay in advertisement money, whoever they were telling, hey, go do this, go do that. Oh, we'll get Joy to do it. You raised your hand viciously, ferociously. I'll get out there. I'll frontline that battle. And now look at you. They got rid of you. They didn't give you another show. They got rid of you. They're done.
News was Donald Trump. The president applauded the sacking, particularly as he was a victim of Joy Reid's sprays countless times. He wrote on Truth Social, "Lowlife chairman of Comcast, Brian Roberts, the owner of ratings challenge NBC and MSDNC, has finally gotten the nerve up to fire one of the least talented people in television, the mentally obnoxious, racist Joy Reid. Based on her ratings, which were virtually non-existent, she should have been canned long ago, along with everyone else who works there. And it seems like Joy Reid isn't going anywhere if her final sign-off is anything to go by."
Don't get mad at Trump. Listen to what Trump said. Be mad at MSNBC. Be mad at these liberals that y'all stand up for and you frontline every single fight. Be mad at them. Donald Trump didn't fire you. Megyn Kelly didn't fire you. The gentleman that was on here before, he didn't fire you. Your own people fired you. Your team said that you no longer have a value here. We used you enough. You served your purpose. Now move on. Somebody that was willing to be the mascot of MSNBC, somebody that was willing to take on all the criticism of these ridiculous takes and these ridiculous agendas with woke ideology and everything else that they forced, or I can't even say that they forced you, Joy. I don't know whether they forced you or not. You volunteered. I don't think they held you down and put you in chains and shackles and threatened your family if you didn't push these agendas and narratives that they wanted you to. You took it on. You took that fight on yourself. And now look.
She will be following Don Lemon's footsteps out of the mainstream media, plugging her Blue Sky and Substack platforms.
Shout out to our amazing readers, our audience. I just love running into y'all in the airport, on these streets, and on social media. I could not love or appreciate you more. Thank you, thank you, thank you for holding us down. Almost 5 years, we are a toddler, and we out in these streets, in this world, and we are not gonna stop. That is tonight's readout. You can follow me on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, and on Substack at substack.joy, it's at joyandread.substack.com. Also on TikTok and Facebook at Joy Reid Official. Inside with Jen Psaki starts now.
There's a lesson to be learned. Like I said, Don't take out your anger and frustration on the people that are making fun of you. Who cares about them? Honestly, just giving you constructive criticism, advice, take it or leave it. Y'all aren't angry at, how can you be more angry at the people? Like MSNBC is clearly siding with the things that Megyn Kelly are saying. MSNBC clearly feels the same way that that gentleman feels. MSNBC clearly feels, and I'm talking about their leadership, the way that Donald Trump feels. Oh, we're not going to hear Jen Psaki and Al Sharpton, the people that are still collecting money from MSNBC. I mean, maybe the Reverend will shock me. Are we going to boycott MSNBC? Hold on. Al Sharpton, we did a boycott, right? We're boycotting the businesses that got rid of DEI, right? And we're only supporting the ones that supported DEI. That's why you took all those people with $25 gift certificates to Costco, right? So I'm just wondering, are we also boycotting MSNBC because they did Joy wrong? Because they got rid of their most fiercest soldier? Somebody that was frontlining the very same fight that you were fighting in your National Action Network, Al Sharpton? What's up, Uncle Al? Are we boycotting MSNBC? Oh, no, because that'll take away you lining your pockets. The Democrats and the liberals have been full of ish when it comes to the Black agenda and the Black community, and they've done a tremendous disservice. They've rewarded the people at the top, the politicians and the Al Sharptons of the world, and even Joy Reid up until this point. But when it comes to the Black community, they've done absolutely nothing. And I have to remind you about the Malcolm X quote, no matter how you feel about it. Malcolm X said that the white liberals are the most dangerous to America and the most dangerous to the Black community. And now they fired Joy Reid. So Black women, wake up. Black people, wake up. You've been used. You've been bamboozled. Run amok. Wake up. Do whatever it is that you need to do. And understand that the people that you've been fighting for don't give a damn about you. And you may look at me and say, well, the other side doesn't give a damn. Okay. Let me ask you this. Did you risk and compromise your brand, your integrity, your well-being for the other side? So you're more concerned with the other side not being for you, but the people that you risked everything for, the people that you passionately defend, the people that you passionately fight for, their agendas, whether or not they're helping you or not. You frontline those battles. They don't give a damn about you. So take what you want from that. Make whatever decision that you want. But my recommendation would be use this as a wake-up call. I got my wake-up call years ago, and I can't wait, or I yearn for the days that more and more Black folk will get our wake-up calls. With that, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.